This week on the vlog, I start a new project, I do a little dog sitting, and I go on a treasure hunt at the antique mall. So stay tuned and see what I found. Brian and the girls went off skiing this weekend and they've left me home to dog sit. But that's okay because now I've got a big chunk of time to get a lot of stitching in. And I woke up this morning thinking that a 12-hour stitch marathon could be a ton of fun. Now, what I mean by that is I want to take one project, whether it's a whip or a new start, and dedicate 12 hours worth of stitching to it in the next couple of days. I don't mean I'm going to stitch for 12 hours straight. I got a lot of other things I got to filter in there, some cutting that needs to be done. Oh, and I cannot forget to register for Snug Harbor Stitch West because Hands On Design is the designer and the registration goes live a little later this morning. So that's also on the agenda for today. But I think if I can grab a project and really give it some dedicated time, it's going to be really interesting to document how far I can get when I'm just stitching on one thing for 12 hours. I'd love to think I could get something finished. I'm not sure if that's reality or not, but we're going to find out. I think I'll head into the studio now and go see what we can figure out what to stitch. I have an idea. So yeah, it's a good idea. Now that I've got everything moved from the house to the studio, all of my cross-stitch items are here. My stash, the charts, fabric, floss, it's all here, and I've been working to get it organized. While I've been going through it, I came across a club that I purchased last year in 2023. It was from Hands On Design. Remember it like it was yesterday. She introduced it during a Flosstube in January, so the beginning of the year, and talked all about how to order it, answered all the questions that we might have of, how it would arrive, what it was about, showed a sample. And it was a seasonal club, so we'd get something in the spring, we'd get it summer, fall, and winter. I checked out the date that it was going to go live because they also told us when we could put the order in or order it on her website, and realized that was a day that Shelby and Tori and I would be traveling back from Florida home, from an event we were at, and went, oh crud, I'm going to have to make sure I set an alarm so that I could order it right away when it went live on the site. So I did, and right at that same time, we were able to pull over at a Buc-ee's, made sure I had a good signal, and the minute it went live on their site, I quickly jumped on my phone and ordered the club. So I secured a spot with the club. Then it's shipped to us, and she had some friends put the whole thing together. So it was a kit, and it shipped to us, and we got like the first series, and then the second, third, and fourth, right? I've got it all here. I haven't stitched any of it, so I think this is perfect for the 12-hour challenge. Now, as a club series, this is no longer available to purchase this way, but Kathy typically introduces things, a year or so after the fact, so it could be something that's coming out here in the future. But let me show you how it arrived, how it was packaged, and the charts themselves, and get a start on at least the first one. The first item that arrived with the club came in a box, logoed with Gather Round. All of the supplies we would need to create our pieces were inside the first kit. The display pieces are these adorable little magnetic discs that came in the club so that the piece could be interchangeable. She also included magnets because, like I said, there's 12 of them and we're going to swap them out. Kathy also includes all of the things you'll need for lacing with the batting, even the lace, and the discs to do our circle round finishes, Post-it notes, scissors, glue, everything, and complete instructions on how to fully finish the Gather Round series. Her kits are worth every penny. I absolutely love them because she also included 4 complimentary charts with each design. We received one for spring, summer, fall, and winter. The first one coming in was gather wildflowers. Then we had gather butterflies, gather pumpkins, and gathered pine cones. I've put them all together, all of the other parts, because we also received, with the charts came the fabric, the floss, some floss drops, everything else we need then to stitch them. And I'm organizing mine in these 4 Dot Dot Goose design bags that complemented the colors that I found in the patterns. To get going with the charts, let me show you each one of them though, because oh my gosh, they're so cute. We started out with gathered wildflowers. There are 3 rounds in each pattern, and in the kit came the fabric. These little drops are from thread milk, so I'm going to kit this up using those. The DMC floss, the rickrack, everything else. Oh, I'm wondering too if we even got a needle. I wouldn't be surprised. What's in here? Let's just double check. Oh, for sure, a needle. Thinks of everything that Kathy does. This is the one I think we'll start with for the 12-hour challenge. So we're going to get after that one, get it kitted onto the thread milk drops, and start there. But let's take a look at the others, because as we move throughout them, we're going to be able to do gather butterflies, gather pumpkins, and gather pine cones. I'm going to get the project started by cutting my floss and kitting it all up, getting it ready to put onto the thread milk floss drops. I pull my floss from the number side of the DMC skein and then separate it out into equal segments, trim it off, and loop it onto the drop. I use a pencil to mark the number on the back of the drop that I can erase later so I can use these in the future sets. The called for fabric was included in the kit. It is a 32 count linen. I believe the color's platinum. And I'm getting this pressed now with my Laura Star iron, applying lots of steam to get the wrinkles out. The fabric included with the club was large enough for all 3 patterns to be stitched from. Then we'll head over to the serger and take care of the edges. I'm a couple hours into stitching and my sister stopped over and has been stitching with me too, but we're taking a quick break and heading over to the antique mall to see if we can find some treasures. The mall is less than a mile from the store, so it's always fun to take a quick break and head over and see what we can find. Everything was ready for the holidays with cute little vintage valentines. And I always make sure I head down this aisle to check out the glass case content to see if I can find a vintage hoop. Today I got lucky. I found a 5-inch queen hoop and I couldn't have been more excited. My heart was racing, you guys, racing, because check out how much I paid for this. I did a quick search for some more, but then headed straight to the counter to buy it because I couldn't wait to get back and start stitching with it. The hoop was the perfect size for the Gather Round series, and I had so much fun using it during my 12-hour challenge. Forget the rush, you're in and find a good spot. Sit down and join us as we sing a good song. Keep back, relax, and just follow along. Oh, we got plenty of time. Begin it easy. As I completed each one, I'd give them a quick press and then set them aside to start the next one. Because, I just got back from grabbing a bite to eat, and on the way back I was thinking about the charts. Each set of 3 has a saying to one of the patterns. It's either gather wildflowers, gather butterflies, gather pumpkins, gather pine cones. Now inside the chart, Kathy has done it in 2 different ways. She charted it so that you can stitch it over one, which is going to create one type of a font or look, or you can stitch it over two, and that'll look a little bit different, but you've got options either way. So if you're an Ada stitcher, you can also do the over two version. I just got to remember which version it is I want to do when I decide to do it. I am stitching on linen, so I do have the option to do the over one stitching, and that font is really pretty. It's the font that you would see on the cover photo. I just haven't decided which way to go yet with it, because obviously whichever one I do, I probably want to stay consistent. If I decide to do over one, then I would do over one each one, or I could give it a try, and then if it didn't work out, it's not like they're going to be together, then the next ones I could do over two. Again, I haven't gotten to that one yet, so I've got some decisions to make here later on, but it might not be today. It's been about 10 hours now since I started my project, and I'm finishing up the third in the Gather Round series of Gather Wildflowers. All three of them are finished. I ended with the small cottage, the quilt block was the first one I did, and I did decide to stitch the gathered wildflowers over two. Now it's time to fully finish each one. Included were the 3 circles we'll need for finishing, thread for lacing, and batting. I layered 2 pieces of batting on top of the circle. Then I trimmed carefully around the edge. I centered my design on top of the batting, making sure I had it where I wanted. Then I got the lacing thread out and basted all the way around the circle. I pulled that to gather it tight, made some final adjustments, and was ready to begin lacing the back. While I was lacing, I remembered hanging out with Tammy Totten during the retreat we were at Dying to Stitch, where Kathy first taught me how to lace a round. So much fun. The techniques we learned there that weekend came in handy for this project. With completed lacing, I went ahead and pressed the back of it so that it would be nice and flat. And Kathy also recommended that we press the rickrack that came in the kit before we stitched that around each one. I've got them all done and they're ready to display. The final step was to add the rickrack around each one of them and then glue the magnet to the back so that they would click right onto the metal discs that were included in the kit. That makes them interchangeable, so I can put the other 3 seasons on and swap them out, or if there's something else I decide I want to put them on, I can do that in the future. I love each one of these. It was such a fun project to do, and I did get it done in the 12-hour time slot that I allowed it, even though I broke it up over 2 days. When the directions for putting the rickrack on, when I went to put that on, was to stitch it on. Normally I would have probably glued it, but I did stitch the rickrack on, and I think it did let it, click and fit a little tighter to the metal discs than if there was glue behind them. It was a fun test of my patience on that one. But anyway, it was a great kit to follow along with. I'm thrilled that I have the other 3 sets. Be on the lookout for it. I'm sure it'll come up in the future sometime. But another thing I'd like to add is that Kathy does these kits and clubs on a regular basis. So make sure to follow her on social media, follow her website and her blog so that you'll be alerted to when kits like this come up in the future, and then you can grab them for yourself. Because even though I didn't do it for a year, it was a great thing to have in my stash to pull out for this fun little weekend project. Thanks for joining me on the vlog today. And if you love this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, click the bell for notifications so that you'll be notified. Vlogs typically go up in the middle of the week, but if you're a subscriber here, you're going to be notified right away when the next one's ready. So, have a great week, and I'll see you later.